Hey everyone, and welcome to our very first AP Biology lecture. So I just wanted to point out that it's 2013 right now, and that the AP Biology exam has completely changed from how it used to be. Years ago, the multiple choice would give you 5 different choices to choose from. Today, it's actually going to only be 4 different choices. So that's good news for all AP Bio students. In addition, the AP Bio curriculum is going to have less depth and more critical thinking. Now, this might be good news or bad news for those of you who are very good at memorizing. Memorization won't save you in the AP Bio exam, but instead we're gonna have to think, right? And we have to use and apply certain skills that we learn throughout the year, okay? But yes, this is a big thing. It's a college course, and so it's really important that we stay on task and that you're watching this video before you actually take the course or somewhere in the middle of it, okay? So let's take a look at the first, and why do we even take AP Biology? When I was in high school, I took a junior year, and then senior year I took AP Chemistry. So this was really good because I didn't have to take these courses when I did get to college. It was great for college credit. So one thing is that it allows you to pursue a college course while being in high school. This is tuition free, so this is a big deal. You could save anywhere from a few $100s to a few $1,000s simply by taking it at your high school. Secondly, it can teach you how to become successfully at taking a college course. So when I got to college, I was very ready for the college courses. I knew that I had to study on my own. I knew most of the stuff that we would do in class wouldn't only be on the test, that there'd be things that were in the textbook that were never taught that could show up. Okay, and so I also had the habits down as well. I made sure that I studied on a daily basis, touch and go, a little bit every day. And lastly, it's a great academic foundation so that you'll have that college readiness and the academic rigor when you get there. So these are the benefits of taking AP Bio. You don't want to be lazy, but also this looks good on a college application. Hands down, if you do a junior year especially, and you get the 5, you'll stand out like you wouldn't believe. Okay, so let's take a look also at how hard it is to get a 5. So these are actually, now I got the 2009. This is many years ago, okay? However, it seemed like before more students were able to get a 5, like 19%, okay? Because there were so many review books out, there was rote memorization that was going on. It wasn't until this year that they actually changed the format of the exam and how it's written. Like there used to be 4 essays you were supposed to write. It's not like that anymore. It's gonna be more short answer. Also, there's grid questions, so you're gonna do calculations, and then you're gonna plug them in a lot like the way you did on the SAT 1 exam, right? Where you get a numerical value and you plug that in. That's a grid-in question. This was this year's results. Now, mind you, no one ever saw this exam before, so I don't want you to get nervous, all right? We're approaching the 2013-2014 school year, okay, but very few did well on it in terms of getting a 5, all right? But, you know, even so, you got about, I want to say, almost 250,000 students took it, okay? And this was a trial run, mind you. Another thing is sometimes you get these carefree seniors taking the AP Bio exam. They fall behind, and that's what really happened in the scores that we see this year, okay? That they fell behind, but also teachers were very new to this, so they weren't really sure how to go about teaching the things that are new for the AP Bio exam, okay? So we're gonna go over that with these lectures so that you'll be more than prepared, and we're gonna guarantee you a 5, okay? Because you have no problem doing that. Okay, so the AP Biology exam now is broken up into 2 sections. There's going to be a multiple choice section. We'll call that section 1. This is an hour and a half. You're going to get a break in between. Now, this depends on the proctor and it depends on the school. I don't want to tell you 5 minutes or 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It really depends. In our school, we gave the kids a 10-minute break, go to the bathroom, breathe, but it wasn't a lunch break. Even if they had like a little snack, they can eat that. Then there's going to be 63 multiple choice questions. In the past, we've had about 100 multiple choice questions. It was a long exam. Some practice books show 120 multiple choice questions. Others only show 90. Be prepared, there's only going to be 63. However, the multiple choice questions will be long-winded, so they'll be long, and in addition, they'll require you to put certain skill sets into place, as opposed to just memorizing what the answer will be. And then there's, of course, 6 grid-in questions. So these are more mathematical. So you will have a computational part where you'll have to find out the correct answer. No, there's no calculator, so this will all be done without calculator, okay? So your math skills need to be up there in order to be at the college level. And many of you have already taken algebra, geometry, and trigonometry. Really, basic algebra will get you through it. So don't worry if your math skills aren't all that. Section 2 is free response. Okay, your pen is going to be down, and you're going to read for 10 minutes, okay? Read every single question they'll allow you, and then there's going to be 80 minutes of you being able to write. So actually, the exam is still 3 hours. However, the format is different. One of the complaints that the kids said in my school was that they didn't have enough time. And that's a common complaint even before the new format. It's because they weren't pacing themselves. Also, they didn't take enough practice exams, right? If you're not taking your practice exams seriously, like, I mean, when I say seriously, like really sit down, give yourself 3 hours. Set aside 3 hours. Don't do 1 hour today and 1 hour tomorrow. Then you'll lose all that stamina that these kids have. Like, they had to discover this the hard way, and I don't want that to happen to you. So definitely, once we're in the swing of things in the semester, by the time you get to the second semester, month, maybe 2, I would suggest maybe 3 months before the exam, start pulling out those practice tests. If your class doesn't do so, you do so, because it doesn't matter where you take it. Okay, a 5 is a 5, and so that's very, very powerful. Okay, so what do I suggest? I put this book up here because now this is the only book I've found so far, but I don't know when you're going to watch this video. There are probably going to be new ones. I know there's going to be a lot of new ones out. However, this is the 4th edition for Cliff, and it does give us a really good idea. This was really great in June this year, where we got to see May, I should say, where we got to see what the exam might look like, and it was a really good rendition of it. But there's also going to be a website I'm going to show you where the College Board has put out an exam, so just to be fair, so the kids could see it. I do suggest that you don't cram, okay? Don't cram for any of your tests. Study daily. My tip, 10 pages a day, and you'll be ahead of the class. And that includes Sunday, 10 pages a day. Another thing is use a study book, take practice exams, schedule daily biology. So if you're going to do 10 pages a day, 7 o'clock, 4 o'clock, whenever. I actually like 6 a.m. If you're up early and you don't have class, it's a great idea to start studying then. And finally, this is a great idea. Create a study group. Okay, in high school I had that. We had me and 2 other people. 3 is the magic number I feel with the study group. 4 gets a little too big. But if you have the 3 of you, you guys could take turns explaining something to each other. Okay, picking a page. Hey, let's talk about this diagram. Hey, let me see your notes, and so forth. Okay, so it's going to really be you being an active learner. One of the most challenging things you ever did before. And I warn you, if you think that you're going to get by like you do with your regular high school classes, sometimes I know kids study the night before and they get the perfect score. That's great. That's not going to work here. There's way too much. Especially if you've taken bio before. Don't let that confidence fool you. The high school bio is a lot easier than AP bio. This is probably the hardest thing, okay? So this is the website that I was talking about. If you go to this URL, you will find the practice test that I was talking about, okay? It's a full-length practice test. It's pretty good. Take a look at it, okay? Maybe not exactly full-length, but it gives you a good idea. I really would recommend getting the Cliff's book as early as possible, maybe the time when you buy your textbook for the class. So now the other thing about the exam is that there's going to be 7 practices. So they basically expect you to be able to do these 7 skills. Every student, okay, must be able to use models to communicate scientific phenomena. Models like, for example, you could draw a pathway, for example, a metabolic pathway, but also graphs, right? Any kind of diagrams or tables. In addition, the students can use mathematics appropriately. Like they might ask you to calculate the free energy, the delta G. They might ask you to figure out chi squared, right, and the degrees of freedom or the standard deviation, or even the recombination frequency when looking at fruit fly crosses. Okay, science practice 3, the student can engage in scientific questioning to extend thinking or to guide investigations within the context of the AP course. This is going to happen a lot in the lab as well as the AP exam. You have to be able to formulate new questions. I wouldn't be surprised if this is what you see in the essay portion of the exam, but in a lot of labs, like the respirometer lab, for example, they're going to take a step back and ask you and your partner or your group to create your own experiment, design it, carry it out, and come out with its own conclusions. So this is a big skill. This is really what a scientist does. Science practice number 4, okay, so the student can plan, implement data collection strategies in relation to a particular scientific question. Similar to what I just spoke of, okay, so where you carry out an investigation all on your own, but you also can write your own procedure. You can write your ways of collecting the data and so forth, so that it's scientifically sound. The student can perform data analysis and evaluation of the evidence. So on the AP exam, they're going to throw data at you. You have to be able to interpret the data, figure out whether the independent variable, what effect it has on the dependent variable. The student can work with scientific explanations and theories, right? So this is going to be all throughout the book. And so this is the same. A lot of theories out there, right? Darwin, Mendel, I'm thinking of Linnaeus and so forth, all these scientists' sayings, right? And then the student is able to connect and relate knowledge across various scales, concepts, and representations. Now, this was always the big thing. Even before in bio, we always told the students to make connections. It makes it so much easier than just rote memorization, okay? In addition, when you are reading the textbook, it's a good idea to take notes, but make sure you put it in your own words. Like, I had heard one student say, how does the cell move? And rather than say like a cytoskeletal extension, she said it wags its tail. But she remembered it that way. And then of course she remembered the flagellum later on. But use it in your own words. That's where the study group comes in. It comes in real handy when you can just explain it to each other in your own slang terms. Okay, and so this is the other thing. Besides those 7 practices, there's going to be 55 essential knowledge, okay, basically like standards on a teacher program. So that's what these videos are going to be about. We're going to go over all 55 essential knowledge, and hopefully by that point you'll be fully prepared for the exam, and you also will be reading as well as watching these videos. So lastly, I just want to tell you the 6 secrets to success. Okay, you do this and you should get a 5 with no problem. Be an active learner in class. Okay, I don't want to hear that you're the quiet guy or the quiet girl. All right, it's great to take notes, but also it's good to add into the conversation. Okay, don't be afraid that you're going to sound silly. There are no stupid questions. Some comments, now if you didn't read the night before, maybe it's the day you do want to stay quiet, but don't get into that habit. Be an active learner. Get a good seat. Don't sit with your friends. Your friends could be your study group afterwards. You'll have plenty of time to talk to them. But be also an active learner outside of class. Look at nature around you. Bio is all over the place. Make connections as you're going through all this stuff. You're going to be reading a lot, right? Use your resources. I have to say that the textbooks nowadays did not have what I had. Okay, we did not have a CD that came with the book. We didn't even have a website that we could just go into and look at animations. YouTube's a great place to find a ton of animations for things that you never knew. So definitely use all the resources out there. Also, do not rely on memorization. This, I think, is one of the most important ones. A lot of students rely on memorization. It's got them through high school. It won't work in college. It's just too much. Especially the AP student who takes AP Biology usually isn't just taking AP Bio. I actually was taking AP US History as well, okay? And then AP English came along as well, and AP Art History I took. So you have to remember that you're gonna budget your time. So own your time management skills, okay? Some of you guys have athletics that you take care of, or maybe you're into the student body, okay? You might have a part-time job. You gotta make time for this. So like I said, minimum I would say is an hour at least every single night. And don't try to double up. Don't skip a night and then go back and say, I'll do 2 hours this night, because your focus isn't the same. And what works is little bites. Give yourself time to digest it, okay? You wouldn't feed a baby by putting all the food in his mouth. You give him some and you'd wait for him to get it, okay? Swallow, good. Next. You don't just keep feeding them. That's what you're doing to yourself, and you don't want to do that. Make connections. Relate what you learn to the world around you. It's all over the place, and so the more you can relate it to things that you have in your own personal life, the more it's going to become in your memory. It's going to be like all the way there. All right, and so this concludes our first lecture of AP Biology. We're going to go over each essential standard that you have to know, and we'll see you next time, okay, guys? Be safe.